manipulate, or not manipulate, but take advantage of a player that is not as well versed in how much money and the best possible deal. The agents are there to know that. The player is not. The player is there to play football. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying some of these players don't have a good knowledge on that, like Micah seems to as well.
He has enough. He has enough knowledge.
You even asked Jerry, and Jerry was giving him credit, saying he was one of the smartest players he's ever dealt with.
Right, but in the same breath, he got his name wrong.
Yeah, Michael.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm just saying, I feel like it's an attention grab. I really do. I think he will be a Cowboy. And people are talking about all this stuff, and also forget, he's also got multiple more years before he even technically needs a contract.
Right, and go ahead and explain that for people that don't know.
Well, because is this technically his fourth year coming up now?
No, this is his fifth year option.
So, but this is his fifth year option, and then he also has chance to get tagged for 2 years, if I'm correct.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the best case scenario for either him or Micah, or the team or Micah, I would say, getting tagged. But the fifth year option, I would use the fifth year option. And then what people don't realize is, honestly, the fifth year option, it does hurt Micah in the case of injury. If something happens, then he will get less money. But say nothing happens, that contract will be even bigger because the market goes up every year.
Absolutely. It'll probably be closer to $45 million by the time next free agency hits.
Exactly. People forget the longer this stalls out. I mean, I think the reason it is stalling out and they're talking at all is because they both want to get Micah one of the biggest deals that's ever been done for a defensive player. So,
and we just saw T.J. Watt getting the biggest deal in history for a non-quarterback.
And honestly, I think Micah's more valuable. And I know there will be people that disagree with that, but Micah's younger. I think T.J. Watt, we've seen a lot of you know what I mean? And I'm not saying the same can't be true for Micah. Like, you see some great games, and then you see some not as great games. And I know people have their caveats to say about Micah in the playoffs. He's not as important when playoff time comes. But he's been getting doubled, you know what I mean? Like he is a person that teams have to prepare for.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And in doing so,
he opens up other positions
exactly
to do well because they're preparing for Micah instead of being able to prepare for the whole team.
That's what I was going to say, is in doing so, by taking the attention away, it opens up lanes for other defenders to get to the quarterback. And that's exactly what Micah's biggest... You know what? I heard a stat. So, Micah Parsons, through his first 4 years, is the second player to ever record at least 12 sacks in a year each year, other than Reggie White. That's a great enamour stat, but there's also something else. So, for the past 4 years that he's been in the league, Micah Parsons has a pressure rate of around 21% of each play. So, 21% of the time, Micah Parsons is in the face of the quarterback, and that is number one. And also, to add on top of that, he is ranking 30th as far as pass rush snaps, because he's not always a pass rusher. Sometimes he's an outside linebacker. Sometimes he's in coverage. Like, you're not always having him being a pass rusher. So
he's a very dynamic player.
So being 30th as a pass rusher in snap rate, but yet being first in pressure rate is insane. So you pay a guy what he wants at that point. It's just a matter of you get that done before the season starts, and you do it. You do whatever he asks for, because that's all I gotta say is he's deserved it. He's earned it. He's gonna become even greater. Micah Parsons is 26 years old. T.J. Watt is gonna be 31 in October. So T.J. Watt is about 5 years older, and I think Micah Parsons is on the same level. So if you can do it, why?
If Micah had a full year last year, I think it would have been an incredible year, and I mean, he would be getting paid even more than we were thinking about right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It hurts him that he was out last year because his stats don't look as beautiful as they normally do. You know what I mean? Like, he has, I don't think, he hasn't been top 5, but he's been just under almost every year since he's been in the league. You know what I mean? He's been up there, like, consecutively every year. But I also think that's because you guys have had so many injuries at your other end, and you haven't had someone good to pair him with.
Right.
That teams can throw as many players as they want at him, and then they don't have to worry about him as much. So
Right, but if we're gonna look at it like that, now that DeMarcus Lawrence is gone, who I think you were talking about is the other injury.
yes,
Yeah. So DeMarcus Lawrence often injured. Yes, he moved on to Seattle. Best of luck, but now they got Donovan Ezeraku, and then you got Sam Williams coming back from an ACL tear. I think if Micah Parsons is on the field and you got Donovan and Sam on the other side, I like the chances because you can't double both. So I mean, if you do, then someone's getting there either way. But what I'm saying is, I like the chances. I like the position, the way it's looking if Micah's on the field. That's all I gotta say.
I agree. And I mean, look at how well he played once he came back from his injury.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really, his injury was not expected to be that long. I remember that too, honestly.
High ankle sprain, yeah, no, it was not expected to be super long, but it was a 4-week. He missed 4 weeks, so.
Yeah, which I mean changes the dynamic of the rest of the team for that long because I believe Lawrence was out for that 4 week. I mean, even longer than that, was he not?
I can't remember exactly how many games he did miss, but
you're just missing both your ends, which
right, it doesn't help.
Yeah, made definitely a big hole in the defense. You know.
Right. No.
I mean, then you look at the Lions. I mean, look at them with if they hadn't been so lacking on their defensive line this year with injuries and stuff, I think they could have made it even further very easily as well.
Right. DeMarcus Lawrence only had 3 sacks last year anyway, so.
Yeah, so it's not like he was putting up numbers that were crazy anyway, you know what I mean? But I do believe he ended up missing more, I could be wrong on that, but more games than Micah.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I know he did miss around half the year. He was gone for a while.
But in other news, the Pickens and CD connection, which you think with 2 receivers connection, you know, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
But they look like they've been balling out.
Yeah, and from what I've heard today, according to NFL Radio on Sirius XM, Brad Sham was on, voice of the Cowboys, and he was saying that CD and George Pickens are basically just best friends at this point. So, I mean, they're meshing well, everything's working out, and I think it's going to be a big year.
You couldn't hope for anything more, especially with how, not to be mean, but how do I say this?
Lackluster?
Not lackluster, I wouldn't say. I'm trying to say how, it's hard to get a reading on Pickens. He's very kind of needy in that sense of
Well, that's what they want to paint him as.
Number one.
That's what they want to portray him as. But he seems arms wide open to being the second option, or at least if CD's not open, I'm open. If I'm open,
I just thought he would take it very hard being a number 2 because as much as CD and himself both have said, we're both ones, we're not 1A, 1B, we're both ones. That's what it is.
Yep.
CD is number 1.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's get it honest, and everyone knows this. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a disputed thing. Pickens is number 2. You know, I mean, you could even say 1A, 1B if you want to, you know. But either way, CD is that number 1. So I'm glad Pickens has taken that well. And honestly, because of the friendship there, I think that's been a true reason why he's done so well. You know what I mean? If they did not get along,
right,
and then he was mad that he was number 2 this whole time, you know what I mean? I think it'd be a whole different whole different thing we were talking about right now, about how he was not playing up to par and doing this and that. Instead, that friendship, I think, is going to accelerate how well he's doing instead of pull him back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, so they both want to see each other do well, and that's been evident. I think they're going to propel each other. I really do. I could see
I agree.
I could see 1,000 yards each. I really could. So I think
like 1,500, 1,000. I think CD is still top dog. You know. Like,
yeah,
it's hard to.
No doubt.
That.
No doubt. But going from last year having Brandon Cooks as number 2 option, no discredit to him. He suited his role very well, but at times he didn't meet expectations due to other circumstances. And I think that with CD, George Pickens having a tall dual threat, you're gonna have a physical, you're gonna have a route runner, you're gonna have both options basically. So I like the chances. I think he can pop off, and I think it's gonna be fireworks having both of them with Dak, and I think it's gonna be a good mix.
I agree. And you never know. It's hard to tell in training camp and other things.
Right,
you know?
right, absolutely. But
Don't forget it's training camp, you know.
But we won't be seeing much of that for preseason either at all. So I would say come a month from today, because 31 days from today, the season opens with Dallas versus Philadelphia. So we will see the George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, two-headed monster on the field.
Yeah. And you'll see Dak back, which, you know, we haven't seen much of him in a while. So.
No. The last memory I have of him is 2023, where he was doing great. Last year, I like to put behind me.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Which, I mean, he didn't do bad last year. It's just that he wasn't even there. So.
Yeah, well, he had his lowest passer rating in his career last year, but the year before that was his highest in his career. So.
And he also does better, I feel like, most do it, like, towards the mid to end season, which he didn't even get a chance to play, so.
Missed 2/3 of the year.
Yeah.
And, I think a fresh start's coming in. If we want to keep it on the Cowboys topic for just a bit longer, I have one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, what's up?
So at running back position, that's another big component to the offense and just the team
100%.
Dynamic overall. So, you know, you see all these flashy rookies. Like, you got, obviously, Ashton Genty. You got Omarion Hampton in Los Angeles. You got...
Genty. You said Genty. My bad.
Yeah, no. Then you got guys like Judkins that haven't even signed a contract yet.
Ohio boys is what I meant, yeah.
Yep, Travion in New England. You got all these rookies that are doing, or that are expected to do very well. And I can't disagree with that, but there's one 5th rounder that I want to discuss that might be flying under the radar, and that's Jaden Blue out of Texas. He's been getting first team snaps, and he's been looking like, according to Brian Schottenheimer, head coach, he's been looking like a taller Darren Sproles out there. So I really like that comment, and I have a lot of high hopes for Jaden Blue, because coming out of Texas, he was a dual threat. He was a receiving back. He had over 14 touchdowns, or just at 14 touchdowns combined for the year. 8 and 6, I believe, is what it was. But he's a weapon out of the backfield, and he's got speed. He's got long range speed, and I really like what I'm seeing from him. So I have high hopes for him this year, and I really think he's going to pop off and maybe even start week 1.
I remember you specifically saying you really liked that pick, even though it was later in the rounds and everything, and he kind of went underrated last year, in the draft at least.
Yeah.
So.
No doubt. Yeah, I was happy when they picked him in the 5th, but I can't forget about the 7th rounder they got too, Phil Maffa. They got 2 running backs in the draft, and both of them probably have a better chance of making the roster than Deuce Vaughn, sadly enough.
Yeah. Speaking of 7th rounders,
let's talk about it.
Running back specifically.
Okay.
Ours has been looking very well. Kyle Madango, I don't know exactly how to pronounce that last name. It's pretty crazy.
Where did you go to school? Rutgers, or was it Maryland?
It was Rutgers.
Okay.
If I believe so. Yeah, I'm like 90% sure. has been doing very well. He's even been taking some first team snaps and everything as well. Yeah, I think he's. I don't think he's going to start off as our number one. We still have Swift. We still have Roshan. You know, um, but I think he's something to build off of, and I think by the end of the season, he will be out there quite a bit, and I think people will be hearing that name a lot more in the running game for the Bears.
Right. So I just did a little dive on him, and they called him the Energizer Bunny at Rutgers. So
yeah.
do you think
If you look, he did very well there. He did. So
do you think he could have a chance of being that Energizer Bunny factor with the Bears?
I hope so. I mean, like that running back room is pretty full with decent talent. So it's kind of like who's gonna show that energy and who's gonna show those special plays. I mean, Swift did pretty underwhelming last year. I think with the new offensive line, he'll be looking a lot different. I think Swift's a unique character where once you give him space, I think he's a really great running back. But I don't think he's that running back to get those like 4 or 5 crucial yards in harder downs. You know what I mean? Like he's more of you give him space and he's a great passing you know what I mean? Pass catch running back as well. Like we saw some beautiful things happen there last year with him. So, but we need someone to get us a consecutive 3, 4 plus yards. You know what I mean? Like on those tougher downs, so we can get that running game really cemented and then open up the pass game. I think that was one of our biggest caveats last year. And that's why it made it so hard on Caleb Williams is because we never had a run game as well. And partially to that, I think it was a lot of our O-line's fault. But I think Swift is a very unique character when you give him the space and everything. He makes big things happen. But I don't think he's the person you want as your 1A. You know what I mean?
Your bell cow, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's that guy. I don't want him to be out there every play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's that consecutive when it comes to that hard, tough running. You know what I mean? He's more, once you give him space, he can make crazy things happen. Or in the pass game, he's crazy as well. But I don't think he's that, like, you put him down there every snap and he's getting a consecutive 4 yards, you know? Like,
right. And let me ask you a question then. So what's the Bears' running back depth chart? Is Roshan Johnson 2 or 3?
2.
Okay, so
from my understanding.
If Ben Johnson is gonna resort back to any knowledge from Detroit with the ground and pound of between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, I would
Swift and Roshan will be a very
exactly. I think right there is your combo, and
I really don't think we took advantage. Not to cut you off, but I don't think we took nearly as much advantage of Roshan as we should have last year. I believe he should have been on a lot more snaps. Every time we gave him the ball within the, I believe, 4 or 5 yards of the end zone, he'd gotten a touchdown every play. So every time we'd given it to, it was like a weird yardage. I don't remember exactly. Like I saw a statistic, but every time we'd given it to him, either the 4 or 5 yard line from the end zone, he'd come home with the touchdown. So
I very much like Roshan. I think obviously Texas running backs are bred well. You got Bijan or Bajan as is really pronounced.
Yeah, I saw that clip as well.
So Bajan Robinson, and then Roshan, and then you got numerous other guys. I don't even want to go down the list, but then Jaden Blue that I just mentioned. So it's the factory running backs right there. I really like Roshan Johnson, and I think he could be your pounder, basically. And then you got DeAndre Swift as your fast, breakaway speed, and open space guy. I
think Kyle will end up taking over Swift's position as well, like eventually. I do believe that. So
that could be compelling to witness. I would like to see we're going to see a lot out of this Kyle Monnon guy preseason. Yeah, absolutely. So I
No, I definitely agree. I just think no one's talked about him because he was a 7th-round pick, and everyone thought we might be getting Genty or might be getting one of the Ohio boys, or then there was Cam Scott. Like, we really looked at, I think, every running back, and I saw people talking about us getting them. You know what I mean? So because our run game did suffer just like the Cowboys last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure you heard every one of those as well, of you guys getting one of those running backs. But I think picking a lower, not caliber, I would say, just a lower pick running back that's not as high, I think will still pay off because these younger running backs, I think, have a lot going for them. And, yeah, I think our main caveat last year and our main thing that we never got the running game going was that O-line and as well as the play calling. You could tell when we were running it every time last year. And this play action offense will really change that for us, I think. So
yeah. And you mentioned Dallas also suffering in the running game. Yeah, they were 27th in rushing last year. Chicago wasn't.
I don't think we were far in front or behind. I think we were pretty close to that as well.
Chicago was 24th, so just 3 above. So
which honestly is surprising. Like
right, but yeah, no, it was 102 yards per game versus 100.3.
So not much of a difference there. Literally, yeah.
1.7 yards.
Yeah, not much of a difference there. So, but I mean, I'm surprised we were honestly even that high. I figured we were even lower than that. I thought we were going to be like right below you. Honestly, we both definitely suffered in the rush game last year, and that's what makes people forget. Like, okay, you can have an incredible passing offense, but without that rushing threat, you know what I mean? Then they know where the ball's going. It's going through the air, you know?
Yep, no doubt.
And then they can scheme for that. Speaking of going through the air, that Chicago secondary is looking beautiful once again. Man, oh man, I can't wait to see it. Kyler Gordon, back and ready. Spider-Man's looking good. We got Jaquan Brisker coming back from his week 6 injury last year, out literally 11 games. Like,
yeah, he was out since October.
Well, I was actually at the game he went out. It was against the Panthers with a concussion. Terrible thing to see. One of my absolute favorite players on the team, especially defense-wise. I think he brings a crazy benefit to the team. People don't know him that well. You know what I mean? I don't think he's a pretty underrated player, if you'd ask me.
Right.
And I think he literally could be something crazy this year. So, not only that, I mean, I know he just suffered a small injury. He should be back for week 1. But then you got Jalen Johnson, you know. The secondary is packed full of talent, as well as we made some off-season moves on the defensive line. We got Deo. I don't want to try and say his last name. And then we got the defensive end. Well, I can't think of his name as well right now. The defensive tackle.
Where do you go to school?
He's an older player now, 31 or 30.
Oh, you talking about Grady Jarrett?
Grady Jarrett,
yeah.
Yes, which I think is an absolute unit. We also have Andrew Billings, who's back from injury from a actual chest or pec tear last year.
Yeah, that's nasty injury.
Yeah, and Billings was, I think, he's not very high on anyone's list, but I honestly think he was a absolute star last year and one of the ones holding the defense. We lost him as well as who am I thinking of now? We lost him relatively early in the season as well, so we were out two of our best guys, in my opinion, and you could definitely see the decline in the defense after that. So, I mean, which happens. It's football. There's injuries, you know. having those extra rules with now Grady Jarrett, and I think Dexter will have a breakout year. I really do. I think he's been improving every year, and I've loved him as a player.
You should get his jersey at this point.
Yeah, no, I've loved him as a player forever. So I think he'll have a breakout year, which he was close last year, but then he was just not getting much help after that. The defensive line was pretty in shambles, So. And we can't forget about Montez Sweat being on edge. I've also seen a few things about. I've only heard Deo's name a few times in this whole off season. I've heard he made a few good plays the other day. But also, other than that, Austin Booker, I heard made a good few plays the other day. Both we'll just have a lot of depth now. Not anyone like Micah. But when you have those depth rules, then you're not depending on one single person. Also does help as well. So,
no, good point. Good point. Building depth and having a position group that is retained, that is very valuable.
Yeah, but I think that that secondary is special, and it's going to be an absolute unit next year or this coming year, I should say. So,
what's the weakness on the Bears?
The weakness. I'm not trying to say Caleb, but, he's just got to keep his head on straight and not get overwhelmed by this new offense.
Okay. I like that. That's actually a really, that's a good evaluation because I think that's also their biggest weakness is the offense that could be a little too dynamic for them. But
yeah, especially with a young quarterback and a new coach and play caller at the same time, offensive play caller. Other than that, the O-line, because as much improvements as we made this offseason, they haven't played together. It takes time to build that chemistry in the trenches, and they're not there yet. So I hope they get there very quickly. But we have some great players now. I also heard Jonah Jackson just suffered an injury. I forget exactly what happened, but the depth of the O-line is still not great.
Is Jonah Jackson's injury going to be like a few weeks, or what's the severity on that?
I believe it is just a few weeks. I believe he will be coming back early in the season, if not week 1.
Okay.
So it's not a severe injury. No one on the Bears right now has a very severe injury that I'm thinking of, but
I wanted to bring up this competition, the battle at tackle.
Between Ozzie Trapillo and Braxton Jones?
Yep, that's the one.
I think with the last few days of practice, I believe Braxton Jones has won the position.
Really? I was seeing completely different just a few days ago. So what changed?
There's just been I know Austin Booker got around Ozzie quite a few times. I believe is one of the biggest differences. I haven't watched much of the actual trenches film. I need to go back and watch some of that to really get my perspective on it. I'm just going off outside of clips. But from what I've seen, just very recently, literally within the last few days, that Braxton Jones is starting to take over that number one role. So,
okay.
And even having Ozzie as someone that is fighting for that position. Tackle was one of our positions where we were suffering the most last year, being not player wise, but we still actually have our tackles from last year. So you know what I mean. So they are solid, obviously, if we're keeping them around.
It's really good to have that depth.
Right as well.
It's really good to have that depth.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the depth, and I think Braxton Jones, this might be his last year contractually with the Bears. So, even being able to possibly move to Ozzie next year, if we aren't seeing enough from Braxton Jones, or if we want to, save those dollars because they're close enough to where it's comparable,
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. If they're close, and we're trying to save that money next year for a different position or something, then that gives us a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no doubt.
I've seen this Ben Johnson defense offense. My bad, is like no other.
It's definitely going to be an adjustment, but I think all signs are pointing up.
Yeah, it's been a culture change. I've heard that from just about everywhere. Speaking of new things that are happening with the Bears, Luther Burden and Colston Loveland as well. I've seen have both been. Luther Burden had his I don't even know what to call them, his hiccups
Right.
in the beginning of the off season where he wasn't. I was told he was injured, but I just don't know how to take it. It was a soft tissue injury. It just seemed kind of like it was just kind of weird circumstances and stuff.
Yeah.
He was not playing for a while. So that was definitely making me very nervous. And I also saw that the optional training, there was one optional day, and he didn't show up to that either. So there's been a few things that I didn't like. But then recently, I did see that he lined up in the wrong position. He lined up not where exactly he was supposed to. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Ben Johnson literally chewed him out and kicked him off the field. And ever since then, he's been making some absolutely beautiful plays, as well as Colston Loveland. I actually really regret not liking him as a pick in this offseason. I didn't when I saw the draft, I was pretty upset about that pick. Not that I didn't like him. I just thought there was some moves I would have preferred, with an offensive tackle, maybe even, something super crazy at that offensive tackle role,
Yeah.
I do really love Darnell Wright, but the Braxton Jones has been a question mark.
Yeah. No.
Luther Burden, I think, has absolutely looked insane, and Colston Loveland, I think, will have more touches than Cole Kmet, sadly. I don't see him getting more touches than Colston, and that's sad. I think he deserves it, but I think he's just such a great receiver. Colston Loveland is such a great playmaker. He finds space and gets open very easily. I don't know if you've seen any plays from him, but it seems like the dude's always open.
Absolutely, and the Bears will be on.
The
Bears will be on display this Sunday against the Dolphins in preseason, getting started. So I think we'll see a lot of Colston Loveland, Kyle Monangai. We'll see a lot of those guys. The rookies will be out and about. I really like that aspect of it because we will see what they can do, and we will see, if they can maybe jump or leapfrog some other veterans in place of them.
Yeah, and Ozzie Trapillo has been taking a lot of first team snaps, but that also was because Braxton was coming off of an ankle injury. So that's also maybe why you've heard more about him doing very well. But I think he either way has what it takes to become that starting role. So that's never a bad thing as well. So I think the Bears have done very well in this last draft. I also I forgot who it was, but we ended up having an undrafted player making some splashy plays at wide receiver. I forget his name specifically now, but he made a play of the day actually in one of the training camps. So.
Was it J.P. Richardson or Maurice?
Yes, that does sound right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
undrafted free agent.
I'm seeing right now. I'm looking at the Bears' initial depth chart for this upcoming season, and you want to know something pretty surprising to my eye is left tackle starting position will be Ozzie Trapillo.
Really? Okay, so maybe what you've heard is more evident to what's actually going on, and I honestly think Trapillo, the way he presents himself, he seems very professional. He seems like he's really trying to work. and get that starting position. So, I mean, I really can see it from him. But having Braxton Jones as a depth player on tackle would be a great thing as well. Either way, I'm happy, honestly. So,
Yeah, no, that's a good spot to be in. I like that because Ozzy is a big guy. You know, if you're
I think he's 6'7" or 6'8".
yeah, I saw 6'8". So if he's 6'8", protecting Caleb Williams' blind side, I think that's a good spot. I like that. So, um, other than that, I'm seeing this J.P. Richardson, the wide receiver. Right now, he's listed
Like
as
I said, dude, yes sir.
he's listed as the fourth string wide receiver at this point. So,
Is Luther Burden third? I know he wasn't for a while.
right now,
We still do have.
Luther Burden.
Tyler Scott.
Right, yeah, Luther Burden's third. I was reading that incorrectly. So, actually, J.P. Richardson's farther down the list, but you got Zacchaeus, you got Devin Duvernay, you got Tyler Scott, Miles Boykin, Samari Torre, Maurice Alexander, John Jackson, J.P. Richardson, Jade Walker. So,
what a receiver room! All I can say, dude.
Obviously, I didn't even mention DJ Moore and Romo Dunze starting on your team.
Romo Dunze, I think, will make a splash, and he will be our first string within the next year to 2 years.
With Romo Dunze's comments today, he did talk about Caleb Williams, and they asked him, "What do you expect from Caleb Williams?" And Roma Dunze went on to say that he says that Caleb Williams has the potential to be the best. He says that just the way he attacks film study, the way he attacks practice, he says he has the capabilities to become the best. So that's high praise. That's great chemistry. I like the way that they're thinking on the same level.
And I agree. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but Rome was a Washington boy, no?
Yep.
And we've had good luck with them. So
name another.
Kyler Gordon.
Ding, ding, ding.
My main other.
Yep.
But, I mean, both of them. Speaking of, I just saw a clip on the Bears' Instagram saying "iron sharpens iron." Literally, them going against each other and just absolutely going after it. So they're not messing around this offseason. And this, like I said, this Ben Johnson offense is going to be something different. And I really think there's more responsibility as well as more. I don't know the exact word I'm looking for here. It's just there's more responsibility in this team now. There's more. You gotta. You know what I mean? Be there, show up, and you have to put in your all or you're not going to be on the team. Everyone has to make themselves known and available. I don't know exactly how it is, but basically what I'm trying to say is everyone has to earn their spot.
Absolutely.
Which you know what I mean? In the years past, it was very, it was not like this. The culture change, I think, has been a lot. But I'm happy for it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it pays out in this upcoming season. So,
no doubt. All right, so we've basically discussed everything we can report for the Bears and the Cowboys of late. There are a couple other
big changes have you seen that you've really noted?
No big changes. I have a couple things. One being the chemistry in Miami with Tyreek Hill Tua stating that they need to rebuild that relationship, and basically Tyreek Hill is just trying to become who he was again. I think the relationship's a little tainted with him saying he wanted out and this and that at the end of the year. I think the Miami offense as a whole, maybe Miami Dolphins as a team, is going to be very questionable this year. I don't know what to expect from them, but
Tua itself is a little questionable after all the concussions and injuries he suffered. Mainly just concussions, really.
No doubt.
He's been a very stable player other than the scary concussions he has.
No doubt. And then behind him, there's Quinn Ewers, who I'm very high on. So I like that. If worse comes to worse, you got Quinn Ewers stepping in. But another thing I wanted to note was the Las Vegas Raiders. I messed up right there. The Las Vegas Raiders. I like the looks of that team. I'm not gonna lie. If there's a team that I think could be a sleeper that could make the playoffs and make a run, is a team led by Pete Carroll, and that's the Las Vegas Raiders. Max,
he's kind of one last hurrah. He's getting a little older, so
yeah, but you saw him running wind sprints out there on the field.
And the knowledge. Think about the knowledge. Time is knowledge, and he's been in this league for a while now. So,
and he didn't just teach
the most energetic coach you can get as well, even though he's one of the older ones.
My point exactly. He taught us a class. He was a lecturer at USC just last year for leadership class. So I think that's just a prime example of who Pete Carroll is. And I think Geno Smith coming into the fold, being the quarterback. I like Ashton Genty a lot. Max Crosby on defense. Their only question mark is the wide receiver depth, but they have at tight end they have Brock Bowers obviously, so they have a receiver threat.
Have a wide receiver basically.
Yeah, exactly. So they have a threat. I'm very high on the Raiders. I think the Raiders can make a splash this year, and they might even give the Chargers a run for their money as far as second place if dethroning the Chiefs in the AFC West.
Well, I like to hear that. I like the Raiders as a whole. I think it was a smart move not getting Deion's son, Mr. Sanders. Shador. I've heard a lot about Shador not even possibly making the active roster. Not even making 53. Speaking of other quarterbacks, super quick, I wanted to note on this.
Yeah, go ahead. Who's that?
Looking like Milton.
Joe
Milton.
Yeah.
Has been looking like an absolute dog.
Yeah.
There's clips I've seen where he was looking comparable or almost better faster than Dak.
We'll see a lot of him this weekend.
It's a lot different in practice. Again, people forget it's a lot different in practice than real, real games.
No doubt.
I do think Joe Milton might be your guys' future. I think he could honestly be a very solid quarterback that arm talent's like no other. Anyway, I know we talked a lot about the Cowboys, so I'm not trying to stand on that for too long, but I just wanted to mention that really quick. Joe Milton is looking like an absolute unit out there.
We will see a lot of him in the preseason, so I'm looking forward to that. I think I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him to splash. I think he's going to make a name for himself on the Cowboys, and he's going to cement himself as hopefully obviously the second string quarterback, but maybe even next year's starting quarterback. I don't know. We'll see.
I think he will be Dak's replacement. I think he will phase out Dak, if I'm going to be honest with you.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. But I do, deep down, because I know Dak, I know that Dak can compete, and I know that he doesn't want to quit. He's going to be around for a little bit longer.
No, I'm not trying to say that Dak is at the end of his time. Basically, my biggest thing with Dak is I know he's lost his running game a little bit, and that's where I think Joe Milton will be able to, with the size of Joe Milton and everything, I think he will be able to fill in that void. So,
right.
I mean, even specialty plays where you put him down on an end zone play or something like that,
Right. But, hey, with all that being said, Dak has lost 20 pounds since last year, and he's been running a lot more in training camp. But we've also mentioned training camp does not compare to a game action, so it all just comes down to September 4th. So
100%.
We have a lot.
Not far after my birthday, so we're gonna have to go see that game together. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Cowboys.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see it in live action.
Other than that, quarterback-wise, I have been seeing a lot of J.J. McCarthy making some strides and doing pretty well in this offseason.
Yeah, I think with Sam Darnold leaving, I think J.J. McCarthy stepping in, I think the younger offense. It's going to take some time, but I think J.J. McCarthy, honestly, back in Michigan, it wasn't relied upon too much, but he had the skill to do it if he were called upon, and I think he can do it in the NFL. I think it might just take some time.
I agree. See, this is what I hate. Like, everyone's hating on Caleb for there's a few things he looked bad in this offseason, which I'm not disagreeing, but, like, that's what practice is for, you know?
Yeah.
I think once it comes true game time, we'll see that change.
Yeah.
This is all, they're also getting a new offense and all that, so you got to take that into account. But JJ's been looking really good this offseason. I won't lie. I'm obviously not a Vikings fan, so it's hard for me to say. I don't want to see him doing good, but, you know, I think he really has been. Yeah, I think, I mean, they have quite a good defense still, you know, so I think they will make up for a lot of their, rough start with the offense just because rookie quarterback getting out there, you know what I mean? And he hasn't played in a year. He did get a year to sit, which is never a bad thing, you know?
Mm.
I think that will, I think the defense will be able to basically make up for that offense quite a bit in the beginning of the year. And then I think they'll start to see some strides from JJ, so...
I'm completely on board with that. I think it's going to take a few weeks, and I think people need to have patience with these rookie quarterbacks because he really is a rookie. He has had no playing time, so like you can't call him a veteran or anything like that. He's gonna take some time, but I have good expectations for JJ. I think that he'll do decent, and obviously it's gonna be a little bit easier having a guy like Justin Jefferson out there and Jordan Addison. So. I think good things are in store for J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings.
Sadly, keeping it into my division, I've also see Matthew Golden has been doing well as well.
Yeah, but he needs to change that number, though. 22 as a wide receiver, that's pretty odd.
Yeah. And, I mean, man, see, you're going to get me started on, like, I don't know why I brought up the Packers. Man.
Yeah, we don't need to go down that road.
I honestly think Golden's been looking quite well, but I don't think when it comes time, I don't think Love will be up to par. I think he's a mid to low level quarterback, but you know that's my opinion. Take that with a grain of salt. So
yeah, we got a lot to look forward to, and that's just all part of it. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and yeah, so thank you for joining us, and we're going to go ahead and, until next time, we might as well call it a day.
Yeah, that was a good day.
Yeah. So. Yep. Until next time, the Nosebleeds. Catch you later.
Catch you later.